Hello and what is up everybody, welcome back to another video, and this time I got for you guys a bit of a oh shit I gotta turn, oh, I guess my open mic doesn't really matter here, but anyway, because I have open mic turned on. It's something I've been trying in pub games. Actually I've been running games, just open mic in the picking screen. This is a little aside, but turn on open mic during the picking screen if you have a mic and just tell your teammates what to pick, because sometimes you suggest or you type it, they don't really get the point. This doesn't really work out if they don't speak your language or they don't speak English, but it's worth a try, and most of the times I find that it does work out, and then you sometimes get your teammates talking. Proves communication and teamwork, guys. But anyway, that's enough of that aside. We're gonna get back to this, as I'm gonna be doing a bit of a gameplay analysis here on this game 1 in the grand finals of Beat Invitational Season 8 between Team Freedom and Complexity. And I'm gonna be more or less focusing on Team Freedom because they won this tournament, right? No spoiler here, this tournament has been done for like about a week now, but they've knocked down Complexity. The thing about Complexity right now is they're in a bit of a weird situation because they're not really playing at their full potential, because Firo is still in Jordan, of course, so he's playing on pretty high ping. And once we come towards the TI qualifiers, we might just see a different team come out from Complexity once Firo figures out his visas and whatever and flies himself to Florida to the Complexity house. But for now, it's looking like Team Freedom are the top tier 2 team, if you can say, because right now NA scene is a bit divided. We have the top teams where we saw NP, who were formerly a pretty strong team, but they were kind of inconsistent and they weren't up there, right, with teams like EG and Thunderbirds, who were formerly known as DC, second place at TI6. But with their new roster now, they've shown that they've almost beat EG at Manila Masters. They were 1 racks away from Mega Crepes in that game. That game was very close, and EG literally had to pull out all the stops for that one, and they did end up coming back game 3 as well. But the thing about NP is they're showing to be a top team now, and they might just have received a direct invite with their performance at Manila Masters. I mean, they got 3rd place, but the way they played in that tournament was impressive. So if Valve saw that, and I don't know how Valve decides their invite system, but I believe that NP might just receive a direct invite to TI. And you could probably expect EG and Newbie to receive one as well. But that's it for NP. But for these teams, NP used to be on their level, right? If you saw the Kyiv Major qualifiers, they were playing against Complexity. They were losing to Complexity, but now they're just showing to be a much stronger team. In both the Summit as well as the Epicenter qualifiers, it didn't look close. NP just stomped through them and had a pretty easy route to qualifying for those tournaments. So now we have a matchup between these teams like Team Freedom and Complexity, and as well as the South American teams, SG Esports and these other teams that are shown to be the other top teams out of the Americans region. And we're not so sure about how TI is going to be handled. As of now, it might just be the same to Kyiv Major, where they have a separate qualifier for both South America and North America, and if that's the case, it's going to be these teams, specifically these 2 teams, Complexity and Team Freedom, that are going to be the top contenders for that qualifier spot in NA. And you can add along DC with them as well, or formerly Onyx. I believe those 3 teams are going to be the strongest contenders for qualifying for TI, and I think the other teams might just receive a direct invite. You might be able to throw Thunderbirds in there as well, so you make those 4 teams, because I'm pretty sure NP has proved themselves to get an invite to TI. So I'm gonna just consider them invited to TI. They're gonna go TI for sure this year, and EG as well. So those 2 NA teams are set. Formerly Thunderbirds did deserve that spot as well as one of the top NA teams, but they really haven't shown it recently, and we'll see in the upcoming tournaments in the future. I believe there's a tournament coming up, Galaxy Battle or something like that, and I'm not so sure what other tournament Thunderbirds are going to be attending. I'm not keeping up on that, but we'll see what happens. But for sure I can say that these two teams that we're going to watch right now are going to be highly contested for that spot to go to TI, and one of them just might not end up making it because there's only a certain amount of slots per region, right?
To go.
So these are the teams to watch when it comes to seeing who will make it out of the NA region, out of the NA qualifiers, pretty much. So that's enough of that. Let's just start doing a bit of analysis here on the draft. It looks like Team Freedom has banned out Batrider as well as Coddle. Both these heroes kind of complexity favorite heroes, along with IO, which they do get in this game. So normally you tend to see teams ban out the IO and something like the Batrider, at least in this patch right now. If remember, a lot of teams in the past banned out Leshrac, but it doesn't look like Complexity are running it anymore, so it kind of been phased out for now. We might see a comeback of the Leshrac, and most of the reason behind that is Swinamelon's Leshrac was one of his favorite heroes, and the fact that he's not playing support anymore is probably the reason why it was phased out a bit. But we might just see them pick it up again if Demon, which I believe does play the hero as well, so we'll see how things work out for Complexity in the future, especially once Firo gets to the team house and he doesn't have to play on pretty ridiculous ping anymore. But as for now, we look at Complexity's bans, and they're pretty meta-oriented. Legion Commander, very strong offlaner, as well as Jakiro, pretty popular support right now. And not much to say there. I might rewind it a little bit here because I missed the draft order. I'm just going to do that. I was talking about some other stuff. I actually want to watch everything. So yeah, Team Freedom starts out with a first pick Darkseer, which I think is a very strong offlane pick right now. He has to be one of the top offlaners. He was kind of shied away from a bit by a lot of teams in like the earlier patches of 7.0, because he's always shown to be a solid offlaner and he's always picked. But right now, I believe he's on the rise again. He's going to be one of those just solid go-to picks, and he might just enter first ban phase, and he already is first ban for teams like EG, where of course it's Universe Darkseer. Enemy teams are going to ban it out if they feel like EG are going to pick it up, because he's a very solid first phase hero. He combos into a lot of things, and he gives you a solid offlane hero that can secure farm in the jungle. He can get guaranteed mech timings, has solid team fight as well in those early stages of the game. About 10 to 15 minutes he gets that mech, and he provides that extra burst heal as well as the Iron Show, being able to combo with a lot of heroes. He's just very versatile in what he can do, and has a pretty decent laning stage as well. So we see here Complexity immediately respond to the Darkseer with the Ire Bristleback combo. It's very strong, but it's a bit iffy in certain scenarios, because if IO is able to be focused, the problem is then Bristleback, even though he is a strong hero, is not as effective as if you just had like a different hero that maybe provided a stun or some type of disable or something like that. The reason why you pick the IO is you want to just make this Bristleback immortal, right? But if IO is just getting bursted, Bristleback can't really do anything to save him in that sense, and it all really depends on momentum. The thing about IO is he's kind of item and level dependent. If he ever gets ahead in the game to the point where the enemy teams don't have the items or the levels to just kill him in the fight, the game can be over just like that, and that's just how the hero works. But if he falls behind the point where like Ember can just come in, like double remnant the IO or something like that, and he just immediately is deleted from the team fight, he becomes kind of a useless hero in that sense.
Seconds to go.
And just looking at the gameplay stats, it's probably what happened to Complexity in this game, even though they did draw out the game for a while. So I wouldn't say that Z-Freak was absolutely useless in this game, but he wasn't playing at his full potential just because of probably what happened in the early game. And when IO starts feeding, it's always on the early game. Something always has to happen badly in the early game, otherwise IO snowballs. If IO has a good early game, most of the time it will be a win. I've actually seen NP throwaway leads with IO, which is pretty
5
impressive, I gotta say, because that's actually not too common. Most of the times, if you look at competitive Dota, if a team gets an early lead with IO, it's a very fast stomp, and usually the game ends super quick. But the only team that I've specifically seen in multiple occasions to throw a pretty big lead with IO was NP, but this is not with their new lineup. With their new lineup with Pylai Dai, it seems like they're playing a lot better because he probably understands the limits and where they can take the hero without throwing the game. But when they were playing with 1437 and Aoi as carry, I saw them on multiple occasions, and one notable one in the Kyiv Major qualifiers where they threw a huge lead with IO. It was IO Ursa and Envy was an Ember Spirit. I remember that game vividly as I casted that. Both Ursa, or both Envy on Ember as well as Aoi and Ursa died back in one fight, and that was just a mess of a game. But not to get sidetracked here, but we're gonna see an IO Ursa this game as well, so it kind of relates a little bit here, guys. I didn't get to mention the second banning phase here where Freedom just banned out Ember counters. They picked second pick Ember for CCNC, and they're just like, alright, he does not want to play against Outworld Devourer or Nyx Assassin. Get out of here. Of course, both these heroes synergize fairly well with IO, and Nyx Assassin being able to set up ganks, and IO being a very good partner with the OD. OD is a really good tether target, and he also provides a save for IO with the Imprison. And as for complexity, they're going to ban out the Riki and the Slardar. Looks like they're afraid of some 4th position heroes. Riki, very strong hero against IO because in the early game, IO does not want to have to buy detection, is the one thing. So many games in pubs where, because every time you have to buy detection, like for like a bounty hunter, weaver, clinks, or anything like that, IO is not getting his item progression up, and he really wants to get to what I would like to call his tri-core items. One of them I don't build too much depending on the game, but it's usually the 3 items that IO needs to be effective, and after that he can't afford to buy some wards and support items, but he needs to have his bottle, he needs to have his urn and his wand, or you can replace the urn with boots. It's a little cheaper and doesn't provide that heal that you really want, but gives you some extra mobility in terms of move speed and allows you to just juke around in the team fight. But that's pretty much it. You need about, I would say, how much gold is that? About 1,000 something net worth for IO to be truly effective. And at that point, if he's pumping gold into sentries or dust for Riki, it just slows him down. So that's the reasoning behind that Riki ban there. But without getting the Riki or the Slardar is also very good. IO 0 armor hero, and Slardar stun is physical, so he does take a significant amount of damage from that. And both of those heroes are also very good to put Iron Shell on for the Darkseer. So I completely understand Complexity's ban in the second phase there. While the third pick coming out from Freedom is they're just going to pick the other hero that is not only good against IO, is a good Iron Shell target, and it's going to give Z-Freak a hard time. Just got to say that. And Spirit Breaker is fairly good against Ursa as well. If he can get good charges in the team fight, he can really disrupt Ursa and even Bristleback. It's quite annoying where the Spirit Breaker is just charging through Ursa. There's no way to counter that, right? He doesn't have a stun or anything like that. And right now they don't have any stuns either. So this Spirit Breaker, if he can time his charges, he can really just disrupt the entire team fight, charging through everybody, maybe directly onto the IO, then they can just burst them down. Of course, he'll have Iron Shell himself as well. So I really like the Spirit Breaker pick, and I'm surprised it wasn't banned. If anything, I'd say let them have the Slardar and ban the Spirit Breaker, because Slardar is not as effective early, right? I mean, he is pretty strong early, don't get me wrong about that, but Spirit Breaker has global potential early, and that's something that is very strong and can be utilized by Freedom to really dominate the early game. And here, Complexity gonna pick a stun Witch Doctor. This is just doubling up on the IO and his heal, because with the Witch Doctor they have a pretty decent stun, can cause a decent amount of disruption against the 3 melee hero draft so far for Team Freedom, but the big part is his heal, providing a lot of sustain for both Io as well as his target that he's tethered to. And for Team Freedom here, I believe they're going to pick their other support most likely. They will save their carry for last. There's really no reason to, unless they're really afraid of it getting banned out right now. And in that case, they're going to pick it for Yawar.
10
And
seconds to go.
I didn't look at the full drafts, so I don't remember
5
what they're actually going to pick, but if I was to guess, I'd say... Alright, I didn't get a chance to guess, but it will be Mason's Weaver. So yeah, they're going to pick their carry here just because there's a pretty high chance that Complexity will ban something out like the Weaver. Not only is it good against Io, it's Mason's, or not Mason,
10
one of Yawar's
seconds to
better
go.
heroes, I believe. Let me just check
5
real quick. I
seconds.
just got confused between Yawar and Mason real quick. I was like, Mason's not on Team Freedom, guys. But yeah,
Dire team ban.
now A is going to be banned out by Complexity. That will just kill their strat. So is it likely that Team Freedom would pick something up like that? Maybe. I mean, just looking at what they have right now, they're
10 seconds to
completely
go.
reliant on this Io Witch Doctor just to help them survive the
5
fight. But right
seconds.
now, the way they win this game is they just out-sustain Team Freedom and make Team Freedom use all their resources, and they're just gonna survive it all, heal it all up with the Voodoo Restoration, and then dominate the team fight afterwards. And so Freedom gonna go with Dazzle as the last pick. Solid support. The weave is pretty big in this game as well. Subtracting all that armor from Bristleback. I mean, at that point, you can be tanky with the passive,
10
but
seconds
if
to
he's
go.
missing a lot of armor, he can still be bursted by heroes like the
5
Weaver
seconds.
with pretty high physical damage later in the game. And so Complexity gonna finish up their draft here with a Puck. I was about to say they really need a teamfight disabler. Team Freedom banned out the Centaur, but instead they're gonna get a Puck. So it will be Puck off lane for Swindlemelons, and it's a hero that both these teams kind of like. It wasn't really favored in this game because they did. Wait, hold on a second. It's CCNC Weaver. Yawar is gonna be on Ember Spirit. And will it be Weaver mid? I'm interested. One thing they didn't to mention either is Darkseer combos very well with Ember and able to put Iron Shell onto him. And now the Ember does build Veil. It's even going to be amplified by that. So I really like Team Freedom's draft. Complexity's draft just looks all over the place, honestly. They have Io Bristle, and I mean, that's cool. That provides a pretty strong lane. And then they picked an Ursa for mid, which was gonna do good against the Ember, right? I mean, that was the idea. They saw Ember picked up in the second phase for CCNC. Oh, they're gonna swap back. So yeah, so they saw the Ember mid picked up for CCNC, and Yawar was gonna be on that. And they're probably thinking about switching, and they might just switch anyway the lane, because Ursa does do very well against the Ember, and we'll see how things actually go. But what I was trying to say is the Ursa was a response to the Ember in terms of having a good matchup 1v1 mid there, and then they picked the Witch Doctor for extra sustain to make sure that the Io can survive in the fight, that heal does matter. It's also going to make the target that he's tethered to a lot more tanky with that pretty insane healing. Voodoo Restoration with Io is pretty insane. You need a lot of just raw burst to just shoot through that, otherwise you're gonna just be banging your head against the wall trying to kill whoever. But the problem is they have a pretty severe lack of just team fight potential, I'd like to say. They can sustain very well, but it's all going to be dependent on the early game. And if they don't get ahead in the early game, they're going to be up to a pretty rough game. And we'll see how things actually go. We don't have to watch the pause, of course, because this is a replay. And then we'll get right into this, guys. Bloop, 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 bloop. And most of this game, I went too far. Most of this game I want to actually do from Z-Freak's perspective. Just say that. Oh fuck. It's exit out of the replay by accident. GG. Whoops. Alright, hold on guys. Oh shit, I went too far. Technical difficulties. Technical difficulties. Alright, what the fuck? Alright, so Z-Freak will TP out here. He did go for the battle build. This is like what I would like to call a battle build on IO, where you don't go for a bottle rush. Instead, you go any items to just fight level 1 and potentially even secure first blood or something like that. I mean, that's why I would go a build like this. I'm really banking on just playing really aggressively level 1 and getting first blood, or really putting a lot of harass on an enemy team. And the reason why you get all these items is, first of all, of course, Ring of Protection, really good. Io is a 0 armor hero. That's going to give him 2 armor, and look at the physical resist, 11% physical damage resistance. He went from 0 to 11%. I mean, doesn't seem like much, but let's say a hero's hitting for like 50 damage, right? He's going to be doing 45, I guess, about 45 to the Io then. So 5 damage doesn't seem like much, but it all adds up, right? Because when you have 3 heroes hitting Io, they're like going to do 100 damage to him before, but now they're doing only 90, or about 90. And well, I guess
it begins.
89. You won't be accurate because it is 11%. It's even more when he's under his tower. But anyway, what he's doing here, he's gonna tether a creep to try to get the range creep forward. Doesn't work out, or he's gonna do it now. Alright, this is a pretty cool block. What they can do here is you can tether the range creep to send it all the way up the lane, and it's gonna cause it to die very quickly, and then the lane's gonna push back in. And I wonder if he's gonna allow Bristle to secure level 2 just by himself. I think that would be the... Actually, it doesn't really matter too much. He's probably just gonna share the experience here with Moo, and yeah, they're gonna to play really aggressive here into Yawar level 1. The charge, however, is already coming for the Spirit Breaker. And what is the build here for Yawar? He already went for the Magic Wand because he knew he was going to play against Bristleback. And Stand King going to make the play to pull. He also already de-warded here, which is very important. He actually had to use 2 sentries to do it, but he wanted to make sure that he de-warded and was able to get his pull. Because now what Stand King can do is he pulls level 1. Not level 1, but... 1 minute I meant, but he is level 1, so I wasn't wrong about that. But he can pull at 1 minute 15, and with the stacked camp, he clears the creep wave, pulls it back, limits experience from Moo and Z-Freak, and they don't have a potential to walk all the way over here because notice that Flea did charge from the bottom lane, and they can't really fight 2v3 all the way up here now. There's a different scenario over here because then they can run back to their tower in time. But if Io and Bristol ventures all the way over here, they might just end up feeding first blood. So he's going to be able to get the pull off. And keep in mind, it could have been contested if Francis Lee wasn't here. But the fact that he did charge, and he did get bashed by Roshan, if you guys saw that. But he did charge. They're going to pull this lane back, and it's actually going to put Moo and Z-Freak in a pretty weird spot here. And they also have a very good lane ward here as well, to always have eyes onto Z-Freak because he's always going to be standing in the back line. And this is going to allow Francis Lee to charge at any opportunity to maybe take out Z-Freak if he goes down low for for whatever reason. And interesting that Z3 actually decides to go Spears level 2 instead of Overcharge. The reason why you go Overcharge is you're able to heal Bristle without taking damage, but he might just go 1-2 build here, because normally you don't go Spirits without putting 2 in it. And this really works for one thing, stacking. And I do see some players put only 1 point in Spirits, and I do it sometimes as well, just for stacking. And Bristleback, of course, is a hero that can farm stacks really well. And with the Spirits, you can stack 2 camps at once. He did miss it there, but he got it the first time around. So this is now 3 stacked, and this is 2 stacked. It's going to be charge mid, Zygian will respond to it. But I'm surprised he's not stacking Ancients, though. The thing is, you can stack Ancients and this camp, but you have to kind of venture in a weird angle here. Or you can stack both these camps. You just stand right here, move the orbs max range, and you catch aggro here, and then you walk up. And there's potential to do all 3 actually. I think I've done it once. Not on purpose, but I was just trying to stack 2, and I happened to catch this one as well and stack. And we'll see here. Now he's gonna stack it manually without orbs. Just get it. Misses the big camp again. Does get the medium camp. But this, a 4 stack of this, I mean, it looks like a lot, but keep in mind there's 20% experience loss here compared to the last patch, of course, right? So it's a pretty big 4 stack, but it actually doesn't give as much as it looks. Because like you look at a 4 stack medium camp in the last patch, and like that's a lot of gold and experience, but in this patch, 20% less, right? So I mean, it's something, but I would really like to see him stack Ancients. But I guess they're going for a bit of earlier timing, and Bristleback can't really farm Ancients, more specifically a huge stack of Ancients, until like a lot later, like probably maybe past the 10-minute mark even before he's able to do something like that. And here they can just get themselves ahead early, and then they can stack Ancients later, because they still have a lot of time, as they all spawn at every minute now, right? So Z-Freak is just prioritizing stacking. He actually built his ring into a Bazzi that's going to help out Moo. Normally you see Moo by the Bazzi, and wait, that's interesting. Moo actually went for a ring of protection of his own, potentially to go into a Bazzi, and then he kind of stacked it up a little bit here. And they will farm the stacks. And as I said, the reason why they're going for these stacks is they're going to go for an earlier timing. They know that with Stan King constantly pulling this lane back, they're going to lose a lot of experience. Their creep waves are going to get taken away from them, and so they're going to catch up in the jungle. And you see that was a pretty big stack, but if you look at the experience that both Moo and Z-Freak got, it's not as much. In the previous patch, you definitely expect Moo to get level 5 from that. He's just barely away, about so actually it's pretty significant, about like 100 experience away from level 5 actually, but you're gonna get to it here with a kill onto Flea. It's overextended, and they're gonna shrine up as well right at the 5-minute mark. I really like this play from them. The shrine doesn't come up for 5 minutes, so he just stacks the big camp. They're gonna farm it. He doesn't go bottle, because there's really no reason to right now, right? Because the way they were playing the lane. The tangos was enough to heal Moo up. Now they can farm from the creeps. They got the stacks, and then they can use the shrine to heal up. And now with some of the gold, because some of that gold actually went to Z-Freak with that stack. He did get the kills with his spirits. He's gonna almost have his bottle, and they're pretty set. The only thing that's weird about this is Moo went for a ring of protection of his own. I guess you can build that into a Iron Talon, I guess. I don't know. I'm really just gonna keep it as a casual ring of protection. Bristleback's armor isn't the greatest. It's kind of average. He has 4 armor, so the +2 is pretty good, especially against pretty high physical damage from all these heroes. And most of the damage from these heroes are physical. The bash is magical, but Weaver is mostly physical, except for like his Sakuchi. And here we see an aggressive play onto Moo, but cannot die. IO Bristle. One thing that I didn't mention was one of those was actually safe lane. It looks like he's doing okay against the Darkseer. Let's look at the CS. I wouldn't expect that lane to be too bad for Puck at all. But he actually did TP to maybe try to turn that one around, but it didn't work out. So now Darkseer gonna take over this bottom lane a little bit here, and Stormlands is just top. And this is the problem that I was mentioning with Complexity's draft is sure they have very strong heroes. You look at Mu and he's fat right now. He has his Vanguard and actually can do a lane swap. He is fat, but the only kill potential is the Puck. There's a lot of mobile heroes on the side of Team Freedom, and just without this Puck, they cannot do anything. And even with Swindelmounds rotating like that, they still weren't able to kill anybody. And that's a little bit of a problem here for Complexity because Team Freedom can pretty much do whatever they want, right? The only times they're going to die is when they put themselves in a position to die. And just look at CCNC. He's running straight in. He knows that nothing can lock him down. He can always Remnant out. He has an Arcane Rune, and he's going to get himself away. He hit it pretty close there, went down low, but he knew that without the Puck, who just TP'd top, they're not going to be able to kill him, so he forced the... I don't know, he didn't really do much there, but he did force their attention. There's an Ancient stack created by Demon here. Now they're going to farm it up. This is usually when Bristleback can farm camps, and yeah, CCNC is just going to get a kill there in the mid lane. What happened to Hero? Right, he's just playing really close to the enemy tower. I don't know what this is. He's just overly aggressive, and then CCNC just comes in. He has another Cameron, and easy kill. Meanwhile, Mu and Z-Freak still playing for farm. And this is really good what they're doing right now, because it's really efficient, right? They're getting a lot of farm off the map, and it's more than any hero on Team Freedom can do. Look at their net worth; it's going to be pretty high. But the problem is, one fight goes poorly for them. It just takes one, and they're in a pretty rough situation at that point. You're gonna see here charge coming in onto Demon. What Complexity are really good at is making it very hard for Freedom to fight. So just look, this Bristol is pretty much unstoppable. You can't really kill him, especially with IO next to him, right? And it's gonna be very hard for Team Freedom to just play around this hero, but they can, and they have the heroes that can, with the Ember as well as the Weaver being very mobile. They can really just go into the back line, get the squishy heroes, and avoid dispersal entirely. And we'll see what happens. As Vero looks like he was doing okay in the mid lane. He did go down there, but if you look at his net worth, it's still very high. He has really high CS. And I think he believed that he could play a bit more aggressive in the mid lane there. He had his ultimate, but the damage was just too much for him. So he miscalculated that a bit, but if you look at Z-Freak now, just very good. He has his bottle. He's about to get those 3 items. He's going to get his urn soon. Instead of going for a wand, he actually opted for a bad in this game, which isn't bad. Gives him that extra armor, which is very big against the Weaver. The mana regen also kind of doubles up too as well. Not only does it give the aura to the Bristol, but it also gets amplified when he tethers. And so we do see Mu as a bit of a raid boss right now, and he's going to continue to be this way for a while. And he's just building into more tank here, going for a casual cloak to deal with the Ember Spirit, and then looks like he wants to go straight into the Crimson Guard. That's just gonna make Z-Freak more survivable against the physical damage coming out from Noir. And it wasn't really necessary, but they're gonna use the relocate out to save Mu, and that might just lead to Z-Freak dying here. And yeah, he's gonna send himself back, and he will tether away. He's actually gonna tether to the Feet Wave instead of Mu, who did TP in, and so he will live. All right, that's not too bad. Meanwhile, looks like Soda Melon just Ooh, big kill there for him. He's gonna get a kill onto CCNC while in the bottom lane. What the heck happened? Alright, he underestimated the damage coming out from the war here. He's gonna get dope. He just didn't see him. He backed away. So you look at what actually happened here. Yawar got his time lapse forced out by Mu, and then Siegfried just wanted to play aggressively. Yawar was able to see him and and just dope him. He just needs to not show himself, but that's just what I was saying about IO being pretty bad against this Weaver, and I really like to pick up by Freedom. So IO will go down. I mean, not too big of a deal, but the deaths do start to add up, right? Because if you look at his gold before, I'm not going to rewind again, but he was pretty close to his urn, and now he is further away. IO is going to TP in and give Mu his chainmail. It's going to help him build up his buckler, and the buckler will help out Siegfried in terms of surviving against his Weaver. You saw how he just bursted there. So right now, gold graph very even. He's going to go down again. The vision is also provided. Alright, they're just going to die. They're just bullying Siegfried right now. He can't show himself because shows himself on the enemy vision. Where's the ward here? Here's the ward. He's gonna go down. And of course, there's no reason to expect that enemy to have a ward here right now, but they will. Ideally, he'd play safer and like hide himself in a place where there's no possibility of having a ward. But now this is looking pretty bad for Complexity here. They're losing their supports left and right. I mean, the Bristleback is still unkillable, and they're still farming the stack. Huge stack here. And this is just what Demon is spending his time on. He's literally level 5. I guess he's not too bad in levels. He's just been sitting around here stacking Ancients for Mu. Now he's going to TV back in. He's going to die again. The Locate comes in as well from Z3, but I think he's going to die. I think, yeah. Bye-bye, Z3. CCNC, he's just gonna run straight at him. He's not afraid. Once again, the only hero that they have to be afraid of is the puck. Alright, there's the puck. Alright. They should be afraid, I guess, because Sotomelons comes in and gets a nice double kill down into the enemy force. And Ursa. Pretty much the only time that Complexity are going to win fights is when Sotomelon shows up. He's actually their only hope. And if he screws up at any point, ends up dying, I don't know how to do this up, but because they don't have the best ways to deal with him this game, actually they don't have much to deal with him at all. They really need a Hex before they can really catch him. He did die that top rune there once, but that was after getting a solo kill into CCNC. So he's actually a really, really strong hero in this game. Extremely strong. I do like that last pick. And I think things are not that bad for Complexity. As you look, the only deaths here are on the supports, and they've died a lot of times. Demon is 0, 4, and 0. But the thing is, the cores are really strong, and they're going to be really strong. The problem for Complexity is actually ending this game, because Team Freedom are going to have a very hard time actually team fighting against Complexity, and I can see why the game lasted 60 minutes now. These heroes are just nigh impossible to fight into, and they're just going to go for the farm game. We already see Mason, or I keep calling Yawar Mason, because every time I see it, we in a Dota, it's Mason. He plays that hero so much. But Siegfried is going to go down again. He dies in every single fight. It's just, the thing is, Demon, just look at his death there real quick, right? He walked under ward again, he just gets charged, and focuses down. The only hero that can save him is Demon. Demon wants to be stacking, he doesn't always want to be on top of the IO, right? And the other hero that can save him is Sono Melons. Sono Melons doesn't want to always be next to Io for the same reason. So as long as Team Freedom keeps aggressive wards out, they see the Io, they can just dive and they kill him and Bristle back. I mean, he's tanky, but there's nothing you do to stop heroes like Spirit Breaker, Ember, and Weaver and diving the Io. That's what I was saying before, where because they have lack of stuns or any type of disables, there's no way. TP's back in, he's useless. And they're just running everybody down here. Holy cow, Moon. He's gonna go down as well. Yeah, this is a disaster for Complexity. And Team Freedom is just bum rushing them. I mean, just go back here real quick and check this out. You see Z-Freak, he gets spotted, and just look at how Team Freedom are playing, by the way. I like to do a bit of analysis on that, right? You look at how they're playing the map.
Radiant structures have been fortified.
Shit, I keep pressing the X. Oh my god. I remember the time though, it's about 15 minutes in. So anyway, you look at how Team Freedom are playing the map right now, and they are staying in the lanes, pressuring the towers. They're pretty untouchable, right? The only hero that can stop them is Swindles, and they went straight onto him, and they know where it is. And they're keeping a close eye on them. And they look at their warding. They have one aggressive ward into the jungle here. Another one's going to be placed here by Stan King. And here, you're going to shove into the bottom lane.
I don't care either.
And they have a rough idea of where Complexity are. And because no one is showing in this bottom lane, they're assuming Complexity are somewhere in their jungle, most likely, and potentially in the trees. But they're gonna make sure. But Yawar feels pretty confident just pushing it in. He knows that if he does get jumped, the only hero that he has to really fear is Swindles. And I think they assume that he TP'd out or left. And so they catch a glimpse of Z-Freak in the jungle real quick. They go straight onto him, and no one's gonna get there in time to save him. Pharaoh goes in, and is gonna get the counter kill or not. It's a surge. Oh, it will. The demon is TPing into the shrine. Oh, Grave comes out. Holy shit! And now Pharaoh is put in a lot of trouble because he went in to save Io, but he does blink himself out. Now look at the weave, and it is stacked up. You can't actually see it. Why can't you see buffs? Yeah, triggered. Right here, it seems fixed again. And they throw everything to dump CCNC down. They killed the CCNC. They dump everything on CCNC. And he just buys back, comes in, kills everybody. And Sono Melons will get out. That's Z-Freak dying twice in a single fight. Moo dying as well as Furo. I was about to say CCNC died, but he's on their team. Yawar did get his Midas, and he's fighting with his Midas, and it's working out. He is going for the bottle build here, and our aim would just be dead. Oh, no. Z-Freak didn't come in time. They needed him for just the extra damage. That's why he only look at himself. Look at his build here. Look at his build. He's just playing to respond to Team Freedom. He knows that he needs the Solar Crest. He needs any armor that he can get actually against this Weaver. Otherwise, he's going to get bursted. But he also needs magic resistance against the Ember as well as the Iron Shell. It's going to be on the Spirit Breaker that's charging him. But overall, it's not a bad build. Helps them with Shauna as well. And it's going to stack up. When he hits the Medallion, Moo is going to get his Crimson Guard. And that's hopefully going to make him more survivable. But if you look at his kill score in this game, or KDA, it doesn't, it seems. But back to Team Freedom and what their plan, their strat is. Looks like Flea looking to just get farm a little bit, but no, he's back at it again. He's charging, and what is he charging on? It's actually going to be on Moo. And I think this is more or less just to be a bit of a distraction to draw Complexity out, and so they can go for a flank in the back line here. Really nice play. we're gonna go back and just watch their movement with the smoke, because they smoked. So they know that Complexity have some wards around here, and this is just to draw attention, right? And if Complexity, just pause right here. Oh shit. If Complexity really were paying, oh, he actually went for mech, not Crimson Guard. But anyway, if Complexity were really paying attention, they would know that Francis Lee wouldn't just charge the Spirit Breaker for no reason, and they also see that no one else is on the map right now, and they would see the flank coming. But it's really hard to see it in this type of scenario. You just see the Spirit Breaker charge the Versatile, and you're just like, alright, kill him, guys, what is he doing? And then suddenly this happens, guys. CCNC is charged straight in, back in, comes on to 2, and moves pretty low in mana actually. Snake King gonna get Grave to keep himself alive, and a full team fight will break out. The only hero that dies so far for Complexity is Demon, and they're doing a bit of a turnaround here. And I guess Freedom got a little bit ahead of themselves there, and they're gonna just go in for a 2-for-2 trade, supports for supports. Not ideal smoking, because keep in mind it was them committing the resources and the time to go for that, while Complexity are just kind of chilling in the mid lane, and just so happened to be jumped, and they turned it around appropriately and got 2 kills of their own. They lose Io as well as Demon again, and both these heroes just feel like punching bags right now for Team Freedom. And with that, they know that ultimates were expended by Freedom as well, so they can walk into Roshan and start getting to work. But Freedom, of course, knows what's going on. They're going to try to contest here. They already had a ward in place. Or no, this is a Complexity ward. Their ward's over here. What was that? Complexity gonna smoke. Freedom are playing around Roshan right now. They know that they can't just let Complexity have it for free, and if any hero, for example, like Shook Bottom, anything like that, they're gonna walk in and try it again. But just that, it's moves walking straight in and trying it again, with Firo getting in here as well with the smoke. Of course, they're gonna be spotted. The Weave gonna come out. Demon gets spotted in the back line real quick by this ward. He's gonna get bursted down. Spinomon's in a lot of trouble. Z-Freak does tether to him, and now Z-Freak's gonna die in a matter of seconds. The charge comes in. Oh, he's staying alive for now. The Snake King actually went down, and now Z-Freak's gonna be focused. The mech already came up. There's nothing to save him anymore. You just look at these team fights right now, it's just pretty bad for Complexity. With Puck as their only disabler, and he doesn't really provide a real stun or anything even. The only stun he has is when they break the Dream Coil, and the Ember can just Remnant out as long as he's not silenced, right? Because when he's in the Remnant form, he's technically like invulnerable or whatever, like Storm Spirit, so he doesn't actually get stunned. So with that, they really have no true way to lock down CCNC, and his deaths this game or just him going in and dying, right? If he really wanted to, like if he was playing like a big pussy or something like that, he would never die. But of course then they're going to be team fights, and they're going to go into Roshan, take it, just get jumped on by Ursa right here. Oh, he almost goes down. Graves saves him though. But the big thing about that was them getting Roshan, and now the team fight's gonna break out. It looks like they're going ahead to Mason. He goes straight there onto Demon. That wasn't really worth it. He just dies, and meanwhile Spinomon's, what the heck? Backline here. What happened to Snake King? Right, Snake King goes in. He's trying to protect CCNC. And instead, he's gonna get caught out by Swindles. The Silence gonna come out, Ursa with the physical burst. And he's gonna go down. Mason got his Aegis popped there, going for Demon. So I think they should have just got the Aegis and got out. They tried to stand and fight, hold their ground, and they're now gonna lose CCNC. And actually, he said CCNC is not killable, but I mean that's not entirely true, because if he does get initiated on by Swindle's, Ursa does have a new burst of force to take him down. So it's not entirely true. It's not until he gets like an item to remove the silence that he's I would say still, and heroes never unkillable in Dota, of course, but this is the point where is it really worth it, or how much effort have you got to put into killing someone? And once he does get to that point, it will be like that. But as of now, because he's not only participating in team fights, but he's actively leading the charge for his team, he's gonna have 4 deaths right now. And I would say that the reason why he does have 4 deaths is not because like, oh wow, there are so many Ember counters or anything. It's just his playstyle in this game is leading to these deaths. But if you look at your War, the fact that CCNC is like acting as this frontline hero, it's allowing your War to play a lot more aggressively as well without getting punished. And you look at his score, he's 8-1-6. And he's very farmed as well. Has a Diffusal Blade up. He already had that Dragon Lance, and he did have the Aegis for a second there, but he just dives Demon. It's not really worth it, but it's a kill, I guess. He's padding his stats. When we look at Freedom, they're about 3,000 gold ahead, and about 10 kills ahead. Not about 10 kills, exactly 10 kills ahead. And this is not good for Complexity, because, as I said, the way they win this game is they need to win the early game. And they didn't really do that, so it was more or less even. It was kind of looking Team Freedom favored, but keep in mind the kill score is pretty imbalanced, but most of their kills are just on supports, and that doesn't really give them too much. So most of this gold really came through towers and Roshan, and some of it is from team fights and some farm. You look at net worth, the Midas is starting to add into the equation as well, and you look at complexity, they're going to push down the bottom lane, while Freedom is going to play a little bit of a split push game right now. I think they realize that CCNC, you can't just afford to just keep fighting like this. Alright, they're going to stand. What is he doing here? Just chilling in the trees real quick. Wait, did they just spot him out because Swindlemelon decided to take a path through the trees? Yep. He's just hiding here, doing his own thing. I'm not so sure why he was here. Maybe he wanted to eventually bait someone mid and they were going to take a fight here or something. But Swindlemelon just decides to take a path through the trees and ends up getting killed. And it's whatever, it's Dazzle. And nothing important is happening because Roshan is dead and there's no big objectives or anything to be taken on the map at this point in time either. So it's more or less irrelevant kills. A bit of a gold going to complexity. Z-Freak gonna do a little bit of his hiding in the trees on his own here in the bottom lane as well, but he's gonna quickly group up with Mu. I like to see complexity actually get like a gem onto somebody like Swindlemelons. So yeah, as soon as I say that, man, I'm so good, man. I knew, because Swindlemelons is very hard to die right now. He's kind of, right, that's a scenario I was saying where like CCNC could like never die if he just played really well and just made sure he stayed away from the enemy heroes that can kill him, right? Same thing can be said to Swindlemelons in this game, and it's even more so true here because he does have a Eul's to even provide himself extra protection, because the one hero that can catch him out is the Ember Spirit with the Root, but with the Eul's, he doesn't have to worry about that anymore. He can just Eul's himself, and the reason why the Root does hurt Puck is because he can't face ship, right? And you see everything being focused onto Mu here. They're going to send the charge. All the heroes are coming. Swindlemelon is already trying to respond. He released TP to the shrine. And, alright. Just going to back off. I think they wanted to just force a response out of complexity. Maybe even force Z-Freak to relocate out if he was that freaked out. And then make a play elsewhere on the map. This didn't happen. I guess it did force Swindlemelons to TP, but they didn't even see him. Now they're going to see him, and he's going to go for some D-wards. So I really like how they got the gem here. Firo going to jump onto CCNC to try to maybe burst him real quick if he's not paying attention, but he gets himself out. Need to have a DD rune here, I believe. And it's still not shown. What the heck is wrong with fucking replay bugs? Stand King gonna get himself caught out in mid lane again. They're gonna deward everything, and with this gem pickup, it's gonna give a lot of map control back for Complexity. As they can play a lot more aggressively. Z-Freak, you greedy, you farm this camp or the creep wave, you're gonna die. Bye bye. And here comes your wall. Here comes Snake King. Oh, they commit the wall for him. I'm not sure about that one, but that's wall committed for IO. It's not even bad. You see them use a wall, you take those. But here, they're gonna try to start a fight while the IO is dead though. Charge comes on to Moo, but it's gonna get turned around by Swimmer Melons and bot. Where's CCNC? That's what I was saying about CCNC, not really playing the best game here. You look at what he's trying to do here. Just look. He sees the Bristleback, and there's no way he's killing Bristle. He runs in and he's grouped up with his Spirit Breaker. I know what happened when they grouped up with your Spirit Breaker. Z-Freak comes in, nice two-man coil, and can get out, silenced. Bye-bye. And Mason is... Oh, Mason Kawar is doing some kills in the backline here. One onto Demon, but once again, Team Freedom are actually only killing support at this point. Pharaoh does come in, gets a kill there onto the Spirit Breaker, so it will be a 2-for-2 trade, but they do get CC and C, so trade is favorable if anything for Complexity, and this gem pickup for Swinamo is really turning the game around a little bit here. The fact that they're getting all these D-wards, it's definitely hurting Team Freedom and their potential to play aggressively anymore. And we do see a little bit of a swing back for Complexity in terms of the gold swing and experience. The thing about this game is the problem for Complexity is their supports. They're always going to just be useless in this game. It's too late for them to be useful. Anytime a team fight breaks out, Demon's going to pretty much die immediately, so is Z-Freak, and there is no stopping that. And the problem behind that is you put these heroes, right, 3v3, for example, Puck, Ursa, and the Bristleback. Right now, Puck, Ursa, and Bristleback gonna win in the team fights, for the most part. But you get a 6-slotted Weaver, 6-slotted Ember Spirit. I mean, CCNC is not looking too great right now. I wouldn't say he's playing the best either, and so partially some of that is on how he's playing to for his team pretty much, and partially is due to like some mispositioning, and because he does have to position himself pretty well. And if you look at how Ember was played at Manila Masters onto Sumail, Envy, and Fada, it just seemed like their positioning there was a lot better than CCNC is doing right now on Ember, because some of his deaths I don't think are really necessary, I gotta say. Especially that solo kill that Swinamo got on him in the top run. It's getting a little bit outplayed, is all I'm trying to say. But what I'm trying to say before that was these three heroes, Puck, Ursa, and Bristle, they're really strong right now, but in terms of their scaling, it's not the greatest. You finally get Embers and farm onto CCNC's Ember here, and he will be pretty formidable once it comes to late game. But you look at his farm, he's actually less farmed than Francis Lee. What is going on? Francis Lee is fat. He's a Midas. Holy cow. He's almost the same level as... that's all those IO kills adding up, I guess. I mean, he's 7, 3, and 9. Alright. Game gonna entirely slow down, by the way. Everyone is just backing off and farming. No one is doing anything. And Roshan is spawning very soon. Crimson Guard onto Snaking. He's fat as well. I mean, you look at him, I mean, he's significantly above both the Spirit Breaker and CCNC, and War is just above of the rest. So, and one of the reasons why these three heroes are stronger now, Puck, Ursa, and the Bristle, because not only are there stronger heroes at this point in the game, but they're also a lot more farm. And I guess Puck, I mean, he's gonna be 6 lotted when he gets level 25, of course, and he's almost level 20, so he's getting there. But it's just tricky, right? I mean, late game Ursa is always a threat in terms of his massive physical burst, but it just doesn't have as much potential. I think the best way to put it as a Ember or Weaver is they're super mobile. They build into a lot of damage as well, and they even have like ratting potential. I guess Ember doesn't really take your base that fast, but he can split push fairly darn well. And even if Ursa has like a Abyssal or something like that, Ember just gets a Linken's and he's kind of safe and gets the evasion as well, and that's going to help protect him. Same thing with the Weaver, and Yawar is not going for Linken's quite yet, but he will have one soon, as he did go for Manta, and now he's going to build Linken's afterwards. Complexity, they did keep track of the Roche timer there, and they did sneak it real quick before Team Freedom could even respond. Of course, they have an Ursa. I'm going to enter a pause here, but I'm going to say screw the pause, guys.
Dire's middle tower is being attacked.
And we're going to see Freedom not going to change how they're playing at all. And it's going to lead to Fear jumping in, getting a kill real quick, and they're going to get a D-ward as well. But once again, Stan King dying for the cause, guys. He's kind of, you know, the counterpart of both Io and Demon, and how they're getting crushed. And so he's going to feed a little bit. I can't have Io and Demon take all the credit for dying here. Stan King got to eat up some deaths himself, but the difference is there's two heroes that are doing nothing but feeding on the side of Complexity, but on Freedom we have one of the supports doing the killing, actually, which is Francis Lee. And speaking of killing, both the supports just casually die there again. At this point, it's like they're pretty much creeps. They're walking around the map, they're spotted out, and they're just farmed. Just farm a demon real quick, guys. Just farm a demon. And CNC, he's trying to farm. He still has to play very cautiously. Just keep in mind, when the IO is alive, they have mobile potential, and Sono Melons just jumps, catches him, relocator. So bye bye CNC. Bye bye CNC, indeed. But once he gets his Linken's and potentially a way to get rid of his silence, most importantly, I think maybe instead of a Linken, just go Yules. So he's preparing for later. He's preparing for the Ursa's Abyssal. But right now, Yules is going to help him. What the heck? There, Z-Freak just relocates in. This is just the spook CNC. He actually rems. Oh, hold on a second here. This is next level play. So they see his remnant, which is bugged right now, so you can't see it. But yeah, they see his remnant here, and they want to relocate him just so he remnants out, and he does remnant out. But Smonomelons actually didn't have silence, so he's gonna go to remnant out again. Now his silence gonna come out, but what the fuck? Hero? He's gonna wait at the remnant, they're gonna chase him down. This is clowny as fuck, by the way. Meanwhile, the supports are just feeding, and he has 2 remnants. What the? And then the mischance. Alrighty then. I mean, they did their best to catch Ember. That's not what I was saying, right? If CNC is playing, like, I wouldn't say correctly, but he's not overextending into a Puck silence and getting immediately bursted by an Ursa, which I think Furo potentially messed that one up. I think he should have just jumped on the Ember while he was silenced. Instead, he waited at the remnant, and then CNC made sure not to go to the remnant until he had another remnant. And so again, CNC is just buying a lot of space while the Yawar is just ratting. Keep in mind the supports died again, but at this point, you know, they're creeps. And here we see the itemization come out to deal with Ursa, and at this point, Furo gonna be significantly less effective. They're starting to buy the evasions. They already had the Crimson Guard, so that's a lot of damage block. And they have a lot of ways to deal with him now. They can pop the Solar Crest onto someone, give them that evasion, and then he's gonna have to buy into an MKB, or at this point he's buying into a Diffusal, but that does get rid of the Solar Crest if it's put onto somebody, but it doesn't get rid of it if it's just Ember's passive passive evasion when it's on him, right? I'm surprised he's gonna go for that. I mean, guess it's not bad. It just removes the Flame Guard, removes the Surge, Iron Shell. So, Sword of Melons. Trackle him, but he got a Hex now, and that is what they need. The Hex is going to give them a way to... that's why the Link was coming. I didn't keep track of him. I forgot how farmed he was. But yeah, he does already have a Hex here. He's going to buy it as his third item, and that's why CCNC and both Yawar will be going for Linken's, and Yawar already has his. And we see him get that kill there real quick onto Snake King, and you're going to take a tower out of it as well. And now they're trying to push high ground. They're feeling pretty confident. You look at the gold graph, they're still behind a little bit, but with the Hex, this is a pretty big power spike, especially while CCNC still doesn't have his Linken's. Aegis gonna expire here, so Aegis regen, and they're gonna decide not to push high ground anymore. And it's pretty risky. They're asking to be comboed pretty hard with the vacuum wall. If the Darkseer decides to buy it back, he's also respawning in like 20 seconds, so they never know what happens. So play it safe, back it off. Alright, well, let's look at Z-Freak's item progression right now, guys. He is stacking into bracers. That's one way to do it. And you look at Demon, he's already done that, and he's actually completed his Atos. So he stacked bracers pretty well there. 2 bracers into an Atos. That's still weird, but I think it's actually a funny build-up, and I like it. And so what's going on here, guys? Complexity. They're looking like they're not desperate, I'd say, but they know they're pretty strong right now, and they just want to force something out of Freedom. They know they're not going to get much stronger than this right now when Sword of Melons has his Hex before the Linken's, and they want to go. The problem is the split push is coming in from the bottom lane. CCNC, he's actually not going to go for his Linken, he's going to go for Radiance. That's strange. I don't think they need Radiance. I guess he wants to counteract Moo's Radiance, who did decide to go for Radiance after all these, I would say, tanky support items, and this is going to help him scale. So now he's going to have his Shiva's Guard up as well, and here we see Melon finding a catch onto the bottom lane. CCNC now he's still going to be able to get out. They only lose Princess Lee there. That's pretty unfortunate. They didn't have enough burst damage to take out CCNC, and he just gets out. They lose Flea, but whatever, they force Complexity back. Team Freedom's game plan right now is just to survive this critical moment for Complexity, where they have the Hex. The next big moment here is if they can claim the next Roshan, and if Team Freedom can actually stop Complexity from taking the next Rosh, I would say the game's not in the bag, but it's looking very good for them. And see here, Z-Freak, he's going for an Atos of his own, and stacking up the bracers. He already has 2. We'll see CNC actually go for his Radiance. We'll see. Yawar is about to get 6 slotted. He's going to actually build into a Bloodthorn here to deal with the Puck. I really like that from him. And in general, Freedom still have a lot of room to grow. If this does get late game, these team fights or the win condition for Complexity is going to become pretty complicated. Whereas for Freedom, it's not the easiest team fights in the world for them to take in the late game, just because this burst back is so strong. But if they can play around him properly, it's fairly straightforward, right? First of all, they want to delete the supports, and they're clearly showing like that's not a big deal for them. Look at the deaths here onto both Z-Freak and Demon. So that's just basically how they want to start it off. And here CCNC, he's gonna get caught out. He's gonna get killed. That's gonna happen at this point because he doesn't have the Linken's. can always be initiated on by Swindle Melons. If he does have Linken's Gain Mind, he can always remove it with Yules and get the Hex off. So with the Hex onto Puck, he's actually in lots of trouble right now.
Radiant's bottom tower is being attacked. Bad news for you fans of towers.
He has to really watch how he split pushes. Which, look at this. They're continuing the split push. All they want to do is push out the lanes and stall the game for as long as possible. While Complexity will get the third rush on. They're going to secure it with that kill there onto CCNC. And I think if CCNC just had a better game in this game, they would have just stomped Complexity. But because CCNC is having a pretty crummy game, doesn't have ways to team fight effectively, and he will be going for that Radiance. He bought the recipe. I guess he decided his Linken is not really needed because they have ways to remove it anyway, and just wants the extra damage in his team fights. But here we see the Bissell coming out from Ursa, and this is gonna be the strongest Complexity are gonna be in this game. And if they don't win the game right now, it's gonna be very hard for them to win it afterwards. This is a good start as they get a catch here onto Flea. He's gonna go down, but keep it in mind, the rest of Freedom, I did say what their game plan was, is they just want to push out the lanes and force Complexity just go back and defend so that they can stall the game out for as long as possible. They need to survive this critical moment in the game, and if they can do that, the game will become a lot easier for them afterwards. A lot easier. And Snake King, let's see his item progression. Looks like he disassembled his mana boots for a Lotus Orb, but that's a big deal. Able to get rid of the Hex onto somebody. He also has the cast range talent, of course, so he's gonna be able to cast it from a little bit longer range than the default, and it is a pretty big range there. Look at that. And Stan King went for Solar Crest, pretty good against Ursa. They doubled up on it, but it's not bad. And you know, War will have his completed Blood Thorn. Alright, it's actually gonna come out right now. So yeah, Team Freedom are getting in fighting shape. Sonomelon's actually gonna buy into an AC. Let's give this team extra armor pushing power, and they just need to fix their lanes, push out all the lanes to the best of their ability without dying or losing anybody, and then their job after that is to make a play, get a kill, go high ground, and try to end the game on this Aegis and Cheese. If not end the game, get racks or secure big advantage some way. And if you look at the gold graph, they are ahead about 1,000, but at this point of the game it really doesn't matter that much. Here we see a fight breakout onto the Radiant Shrine. They go straight for Z-Freak, and oh no, let's go back and watch that real quick. This is actually devastating, as look at that. What did I say would happen if Swindle Melons gets taken out early in the fight? It's total disaster because he is their team fight control. And he does have buyback, but he doesn't want to use it. The fight isn't looking the worst for Mikey at this point. They're running down CCNC. They're gonna lose Demon, but CCNC should go down here. He does, but now Yawar should be able to clean up. Moves complete out of mana. Firo has his Aegis, but Charge comes in from Francis Lee. And there goes Firo. Moves in the back line still. He wants to run back in, but can he though? Look at the damage output onto the Ursa, but he does have a cheese. He ran in just trying to save his buddy here, but this might just be save your buddy syndrome. As Firo, pretty strong Abyssal does hit onto Yawar though, but he survives. Right. And the Albert there actually doing a lot of work, and oh shit. Alright. It worked. It worked for Complexity. That was not looking good, but they just kind of ran out of steam a little bit on the side of Team Freedom. And Firo, Ursa with cheese, he has another cheese, and his ultimate as well. It was just too much for them to handle, and they will go down as 5 or 4. They still keep Yawar alive. He almost died there, but he didn't end up actually dying. So decent fight for Complexity considering how it started with Z-Freak getting charged through, ultimated, and taken out right at the beginning. He did cast his Dream Qual, he did cast his Hex, I believe, and of course he did get his Silence off as well, but ideally he survives and comes back in and gets more, and it might have been completely lopsided in that case where they might have not even needed to use that cheese. I guess they had 2, so they didn't really lose much of anything out of that. So decent use of the Aegis, I would say. They got 4-mana wipe and got a decently big advantage out of it. Now there's a DD rune onto Melons. They want to go high ground, and they're going to do just that. This tier 3 should be dead. Bloodthorn going to be using the Bristleback. They want to keep him away from the tower so the Darkseer can respawn. Darkseer will respawn, but this tower is dead. Deny attempts from Noir. Meanwhile, CCC back to split pushing. He does have his Radiance complete. He's going for Shiva's next. Did he sell his... He sold his Perseverance for this. That's pretty strange. But with the tier 3 down, they're going to go for Shrines now. Complexity still have to be a bit worried in terms of how they're going to approach the rest of this game. They need to end it very soon, and it's not looking like a possibility right now. I mean, it's looking pretty rough because they don't have a hero to deal with the split push, and I think... Alright, Swinmelons has boosted travel. That's good. The thing is, this lane is always pushing in bottom, and they can't afford that to happen because Yawar, maybe he picks up a boosted travel or something like that, and even if they have a chance to go for Rax, it's just gonna end up in a trade, right? Of course, the IO can like relocate back, maybe try to force away, but the game just becomes messy at that point, and they don't want that to happen because if they somehow mess up, they don't end up closing out the game. They don't get enough racks that they can win the game off of that. It's gonna enter this very messy late game where Team Freedom actually will have the advantage in most of the fights. And you see the split push at play here for Team Freedom. Anytime Complexity wants to go down a lane, the other 2 lanes are pushed in. Wu is going to get himself caught out under the enemy shrine. Z-Freak is here to save him. And is he going to? Is he not? There we go. Relocate. Brings him actually to the mid lane. And they did take out Stan King once again in the mid lane there. And I don't think Team Freedom will bother waiting at this portal. Alright, so there's something. They take out the Dazzle, they force a little bit of ultimates out of Team Freedom, and they survive. I believe there is some rat potential for Complexity in this game as well, with Swinmelons. I think you should go for like just more right click damage so you can just rat the base. When he already has plus 50 damage, go like Dessa or something on the puck. That would be dope. Cause, I mean, like Dessa, like look at the cost of Dessa, right? Oh shit, what's going on? Where is it? It's like 3,500 gold. It used to be more expensive, but now it's so cheap. I think that's nothing for Puck. Once he gets to his 420, he already got it. So just buy Dessa. If you can be like a backpack Dessa, you can walk in and rat. I feel like if I was Complexity right now, and I was playing IO, and that's how I wanted to close out this game actually, was to rat. Because they are ahead. They've reached a point where Mu is nigh unkillable. And what the... CC&C gonna disconnect over team fight, that's not good. I'm gonna speed through to see what happens here. And what the heck does happen? Full team fight breaks out. Demon's already dead. Hero's getting kited. They have 2 halberds. Keep that in mind. Actually going back in. Now Moon is fighting. He's doing a lot. And he actually went for attack speed instead of 10% lifesteal. It's surprising the fact that he did go for Radiance. I mean, this helps him overall in terms of like, man fighting people, like turning around and actually whacking them with his Warpack. And I guess this, because of this build that he went for with the Abyssal, does make sense. He went for like Octarine. I definitely think that the 10% does synergize better, of course, there. And I want to actually just see Envy's Bristol back build. I'm going to do that after this game real quick. I believe Envy does go for the 10%. Even though he doesn't go Radiance. He goes Octarine and I'm not so sure what. And we see they did lose Firo there. He got kited pretty hard. Halberds came out, the bashes, and this is a very big deal as Firo is dead. Team Freedom going to take this opportunity to get Roshan. It's going to be a very fast Roshan with the Solar Crest as well as the Bloodthorn coming out. I'm going to take it right now. Complexity will not be able to respond in time. And he's running straight in there. He's not afraid. And I don't agree with Complexity trying to take a lead right now. So even if they win it, what do they get out of it? Because I mean, I guess if they complete the 5-man wipe team, they're going to get a lot out of it, but that's not going to happen. So instead, Move's just going to die, and Z-Freak tried to relocate him out. He's going to die as well. Firo had to pop his BKB, and this game is, I won't say over. This is rough. Move's also dead without buyback. Alright. What just happened there? Let me just go back real quick. What just happened? They TP and they're like, oh shit, Aegis is down. And yeah, sometimes Dota 2 just happens, guys. Dota 2 just happened to me. He immediately regretted his decision, and now he needs to find a way out. There's no way out. There was a way out. There was a way out for sure, but he just ran all the way home. He tried to fight, but, you know, I think he trusted in Z-Freak to save him. Alright guys, I'm a little bit tired here, but that just happened. And just fast forward real quick, and I believe all the racks are going to be taken. Well, 2 racks. Not all, but 2. 2 sets of racks. And Slaymon's gonna jump in. He's gonna get a dream kill. They're gonna turn it at this point. I would say it's not completely too late, but this game is very hard for Complexity now. It went from pretty hard, even when with just that Aegis, to nigh impossible. And most of it was just them not being able to close it out with that, about like 10 minutes ago from now. 10 minutes ago they needed to take this Rax and maybe one more. And they would be in a decent position. Instead, you go back to where this all started. It was that one fight that... go back. This is just how Dota 2 works, right? It's, right here. Right here. And let's see why this actually broke out. Alright, so first of all, we see Demon. He's out there. He's trying to get some wards down. What actually happened to the gem? Alright, it's still on Spinal Melons. So Demon was just getting some wards out. He TPs to the shrine. Immediately taken out by your war. I'm not so sure why he was TPing down here. Actually not sure at all, but he did. Unless I was missing something. It looks like he wanted to meet up with Move for some reason, but whoop-de-doo, he dies, and then Firo finds himself a DD rune, and he's gonna try to find a pick off with it, and Yawar doing Yawar things. At this point, he's fairly scary. He's moving around the map at 700 move speed, 750 move speed. Now, bye-bye. They try to go on Yawar, but Furo gets jumped, pops BKB, gets charged, and then blah, 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 blah. And then he goes down. They try to take a team fight. Team fight is very hard now. This Weaver so fast, so strong, and it all started here. Roshan is spawning in 30 seconds. They get Roshan, and this was the beginning of the downfall of complexity in this game. And go back to the future to the end of the game. They get Roshan, they kill Moo, right? They kill 2 sets of racks, and they did lose a couple of heroes on the way out, but at this point, Team Freedom are very far ahead. They took tier 3 here as well, and now complexity. I mean, they still have buyback on everybody, but team fighting is so difficult now. You look at CCNC, he almost has Octarine, he can buy it, even though he won't have buyback, but they don't have as many options in this game as they did before. Pretty much they're down to trying to kill Team Freedom after buyback and trying a straight throne. The fact that the lanes are constantly pushing him is hurting them significantly, because that was already, keep in mind, a big annoyance for them, was the lane pushing in, and that was just with regular creeps against regular creeps and the lane pressure caused by CCNC, and now they're going to deal with that twofold, as it's going to be super creeps pushing against their regular creeps, and then CCNC having Octarine, he's going to be able to have his boots of travel on lower cooldown, he's going to push in the lanes faster, and there's also Yawar moving around the map very quickly. He's not going for boots at all, he's going for Eye of Scotty for extra tank to make sure it isn't bursted, and now Team Freedom can just play the game out. They just need to wait for all the waves to push in, find opportunity, jump complexity, take a team fight such as they did here, and then they can win the game. Mega creeps are a couple of hits away for Yawar, so you can find any opportunity for Yawar to get on top of these racks. While complexity are distracted, they can just claim themselves mega creeps, and once they got mega creeped, complexity do not really have the best heroes to deal with it, as these supports are not scaling. And if you look at their net worths, guys, they are not scaling. They're as sad as CC or Stan King here, and Stan King is fairly sad, I gotta say. Yawar actually just gonna complete his Hurricane Pike, as he is wanting to keep on to his Dragonlance, and we're gonna see a team fight break out here as they catch Francis Lee, but it's gonna result in Yawar going in for a kill attempt there on the Demon. He does have Glimmer, so he's not entirely poor. He actually has a way to keep himself alive with the Glimmer cape, and he's fairly tanky as well, level 20, you know, for the plus 8 armor, 200 HP, yeah. Demon isn't super sad, but keep in mind it's a 60-minute game, guys. In a 60-minute game, I've seen supports worse off, but this isn't that great either. Now CCC pushing into the bottom lane. He has his Octarine. He's gonna get his Mjolnir, and at that point, I'm not so sure about complexity in these team fights. You look at Sona Helens, he actually is pretty fat with a Aghanims and a Refresher. Their team fight is pretty disgusting, but the fact that they have to play against super creeps is just gonna give them a rough time. But here's their opportunity, as it's a 5v4. That is CCNC. The Snake King. That was CCNC for a second. Where's CCNC? The buyback did come out from Francis Lee. CCNC is now gonna come in, and they're gonna take the team fight 5v5. Demon is gonna go down, and so will Z-Freak. That's how Team Freedom gonna take the fights. They're gonna go for the supports first. Bristleback's way too tanky to just even focus on. They're gonna want to save him for pretty much last, And same thing with Ursa. They can go for him first. As soon as he enrages, they can just lock him down, disable him. His BKB is getting very low. It's 5 seconds. They're going to charge in, pop the break onto him, but this is the opportunity to take the racks because they know that Swindlemelons could use pressure there. Hex as well. They always have a way to remove Hex, of course, with the Lotus Orb. And they're actually going to go for a fight here. Yawar, go hit the racks, buddy. Yawar, go hit the racks. Alright, he's listening. He's hitting the racks. This harm's coming out everywhere. Now the Dream Coil gonna come out. Yawar. Oh, it came a bit too early. It's gonna reflect the Hex, but it's not gonna remove it. Grave will be there to save him though. He doesn't have time lapse, so that's not good, but in the meantime, CCNC doing some work here with the Ember as well as the Spirit Breaker. Yawar will have to keep himself out. That's gonna salve. Alright. Gain his health for complexity, but on a thread, they have to commit a buyback there as well. And let's just speed through. There's not much more to say in this game, guys. I'll just keep up with this. And Roshan is up. This is the last fight. So complexity realizes that you need to contest Roshan. Team comes in, he gets taken out. The rest of the team flee. And speaking of flee has a really nice stun there onto Hero. He's gonna go down regardless of that enrage. And he's dead without buyback. He uses it. Yeah, it's on cooldown actually because he used it previously to defend. Now it's all over. Mu is dead without buyback as well. It's on cooldown too. So I think they used buyback to defend the racks here. They kind of skipped through that, but I mean, at that point, GG is going to be called. Team Freedom can take this game, and I think a lot of this game had to be on Complexity's inability to just, first of all, get really far ahead in the early game, because they had multiple ways to win this game, right? It was, first of all, was to snowball through the early game and just straight up be unstoppable, unkillable, and that you saw how that worked out. Supports were being focused and they got way too far behind for that to be possible. So then their second game plan there was for Swindlemelons to get pretty fat, pretty strong, and get that Hex and try to kill heroes, pick off heroes, and close out the game with some maybe ratting, split push, some Aegis and cheese plays, but they got Aegis 3 times in a row there, and they didn't, I would say they didn't waste them, but they didn't completely capitalize on the Aegis each time. They kind of resulted in a team fight each time when they had the Aegis, or with the first one actually ended up expiring. And they went for more or less like an even trade, which they did come ahead on, but it wasn't enough for them to end the game, of course, because they don't have the fastest pushers in the world, especially the Ursa. And so Team Freedom pretty much just got to late game, and it was fairly easy for them there. You look at Yawar and his team fight contributions in those late game team fights, and he was a major threat with the Bloodthorn, and even to heroes like the Puck. And at that point, it was fairly easy for them to execute in those late game team fights, while Complexity felt like they really had to hit everything, and that involved like a relocate out, clutch relocate out, and that just wasn't happening. Io was just getting focused. I mean, Demon was barely able to cast ult, but he was not really a hero at that point. I think he was more effective with just his items and any of his abilities. And I mean, Mu, only so much a late game Bristle can do. So solid game from Freedom. I really liked it, and it's gonna be the end of the video. This is a really fucking long one, guys, but hope you guys enjoyed that analysis, and I'll see you guys next time.